Viruskenner. My name is Valerie. The Viruskenner team focuses on research into viral diseases and vaccines. But maybe it's even more important to prevent viruses from spreading. Knowledge about how viruses work and how they spread can be used as an antidote.
What do you know about viruses in Holland?
Wat griep.
So you mean the flu?
Weet je een paar voorbeelden van hoe virussen kunnen worden overgedragen?
Ja, je hebt bloedcontact en je hebt gewoon door ademhaling.
En weet je hoe je bijvoorbeeld overgedragen kan worden?
Via hoesten, speeksel.
In this video we will be answering the question how do viruses spread through the air? The Viruskenner reporters in different countries will help to answer this question.
Hello Viruskenner, this is Leonie from Erlangga University, Surabaya, Indonesia. That is a really good question, Valerie. Let's see if we can find an answer to your question here.
A virus can spread through air using at least two types of transmission. The first one is droplet transmission, which is a relatively large droplet nuclei that can travel through air but not too far from the patients. It is about only 1 meter of the patients. It can be produced by a patient which is sneezing, coughing or dripping or only exhaling. So the droplet nuclei that contain viruses can reach the other patient of other human, then infect through the eye, nose, mouth, and then infect the particular patients. And the second one is airborne transmission. Airborne transmission refers to a situation where a virus is in the smaller droplet, and this droplet can float through the air. And this kind of transmission can infect disease to other patient or other human in a longer distance, like in a room or in a confined space. The patient should use a face mask, and also we avoid coming in too close to the patients, and also we should educate the patient to use the respiratory hygiene and also the coughing or sneezing etiquette.
What is the coughing and sneezing etiquette?
It's part of this hand. We used to cover this to protect the sneezing, coughing, spreading to other people. So I think it should be done by everyone.
Influenza, better known as the flu, is one of the best known and most common viruses. Most people have experienced the inconveniences of the flu at least once in his or her life. But luckily, influenza generally is not life-threatening.
Do you know anything about viruses that are present here in Holland?
I have a very cold and then very hot, and then yes, I'm very sick.
I think you mean the flu?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Who of you can tell me which virus is responsible for the flu?
Influenza.
You ever had it? You know how you felt?
I feel like my head is feeling dizzy, and also I wasn't able to concentrate very well. I run my nose, so I need a bunch of tissue. You cannot really do activities that need much of energy because by influenza you can easily get tired.
I think that's a really good answer. Do you remember you also had fever? You remember that?
Yes, sometimes by influenza you can also end in fever.
As we have seen, many doctors and researchers are constantly giving all their energy to develop new vaccines against different viruses. Unfortunately, not all viruses have a vaccine yet. But which vaccines do already exist? And how can we protect ourselves against viruses that spread through the air? Our reporters Thomas and Kiva went exploring.
Hello Viruskenner, this is Thomas from Rotterdam. Today I'm at the Erasmus Medical Center and I have an appointment with Rory de Vries. He's a virologist here and he knows everything about airborne viruses. So hopefully he can explain to us how the transmission of airborne viruses occur and how we can prevent for this.
So there are many viruses that cause the common cold, so like rhinoviruses, but also adenoviruses and coronaviruses, which you probably know from MERS and SARS coronavirus. And of course, one of the best known viruses that causes respiratory syndrome, so it's transmitted through the air, is influenza, a virus causing influenza. But other viruses like childhood viruses, for example, measles virus is also a virus that transmits through the air very efficiently.
Do you know something about how to prevent to get the flu?
Little kids get vaccines to the flu. Vulnerable people get also vaccines to the flu to prevent that they get the flu.
There's no vaccine for rhinoviruses because there are so many variants of these viruses and they mutate very fast. So for those viruses there are no vaccines, but if you look at measles, for example, which is a childhood disease, all children are vaccinated against measles, and once you're vaccinated against measles you're protected for the rest of your life. So for measles there's a very good vaccine available. If you look at influenza, there is a vaccine, but unfortunately the vaccine has to be repeated every year. So if you want to be vaccinated against influenza, you have to get a vaccine every year.
In the Netherlands, as in some other countries, all children are being vaccinated against several viruses. Unfortunately, not all countries enjoy this luxury yet. It would be great if that could be accomplished in the future. Not all people are being vaccinated against the flu every year. But it's highly recommended that people who are working, for instance, as a nurse or a doctor, get a vaccine against the flu.
And why is that? That for influenza you have other vaccine every year, and for example measles is a lifelong vaccine?
So measles virus is a very stable virus, so once you get vaccinated your body starts producing antibodies, and these recognize the virus for the rest of your life, so protected. However, influenza is a very unstable virus, so it mutates all the time, and especially some proteins get mutations, and when once your body forms antibodies after the first vaccination, they might not recognize the virus the next year because the virus has changed so much.
And so how do you know which vaccine for influenza you have to make every year?
It's a very good question. We actually don't know, so it's the best guess we can do. Every year the vaccine is re-evaluated and we need to check whether what's the best choice at that moment for the next year's vaccine. So it could be that the vaccine is ineffective, or it could be that the vaccine is very effective.
So remember, it is better to prevent than to cure. There are several ways to slow down the pace in which airborne viruses spread. Here in the Netherlands, during winter times, influenza always shows up again. A very easy way to prevent this virus from spreading is to sneeze in your arm instead of using your hands. Bless you.